Welcome to Bridge Out Ahead, the podcast where we dig into what's under construction in life, business, and community. I'm your host, Bridger Hopkins. Today, we're sitting down with Rob and Krista Sjostrand, the husband and wife team behind Roots and Wings Early Learning Center in Grand Rapids, Minnesota. Krista brings 25 years in the classroom and the perspective of mom and grandma. Rob brings a business, supply chain, and accounting background and a passion for all things outdoor. They're building a child care center with an outdoor trail and play system all at its core. We're talking about calling versus career, delays, and how to build excellence without losing your mind. Mm-hmm. So let's get into it. Welcome, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, this is really exciting. I've known about what you're working on for quite a while. I've been hearing rumbles and rumors about it. But right away, I'd love to hear, what are you guys doing right now?
Right now, we are in the middle, just getting out of the ground, if you want to call it that, in construction. The slab was poured this week, so we'll start seeing a building on our site and finishing up dirt work and getting this thing up and operational in about 6 months.
Wow, that's pretty exciting. So tell me, what is Roots and Wings?
Roots and Wings is this second home for your littlest lovelies, birth to, 6 weeks to about 5 years. And we just wanted a space where they could come and you didn't have to worry about them while you were going to work and doing all the things to provide for them throughout the day. So we will take the best care of them and provide them a sanctuary to learn and grow and fly.
Very cool. So, Krista, you have a lot of experience in the classroom. What does that look like? What's your background exactly?
I've been teaching for about 26 years. Most of it has been in that early primary age, kindergarten. Had a preschool for a couple of years, and it really just is my passion. So I just needed to do something else. I don't know why. God just was like, yep, you're going to go do this now. So here we go.
Cool. And as someone who's got a bunch of little kids, that is definitely a gifting, because that's not my gifting. That is it's pretty cool.
I would prefer, in any gathering, I would prefer the littlest kids versus the adults. Like, I will sit on the floor, I'll go play in the corner, versus the adult stuff is just not for me.
That's perfect, because then I'll be one of the adults where my kids are hanging out with somebody.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And then, Rob, where do you fit into this too?
Well, beyond being married into this equation, we have always wanted to do something for our community. We raised our own kids. Makes the most sense to do this after you just graduated your own kids too. So our last one moved on into adulthood, but I've always wanted to run my own business, which we've had small side businesses. And really, I think the passion came in with Krista running the preschool, which is fun. I love the idea of the outdoors. So putting a school like this, I'm sure we'll get into later what it actually is. Also included the idea of just being able to be part of it. And with my background in business and most recently as a business consultant, we'd seen this in our community. I tried to work this up 4 times for people, and they just couldn't wait and couldn't get it together. Not they couldn't get it together, it was the timing of it. So 3 to 4 years to pull off a project like that, people just didn't have the time. Mm-hmm. So since it fit our passions and it was the thing we wanted to do, we put in the time.
In an elevator pitch, what's the problem that you guys are solving for our community?
The quickest version is Grand Rapids, Coleraine, Cohasset, general Itasca County area is about 500 slots short on childcare to be able to let people come back into the workforce. So we're taking a piece of that and providing right about 120 slots for people to be able to come back into the workforce, enjoy the careers that they want to, as Krista said, in a safe environment, and give them that opportunity for the kids to maybe explore some things they don't see every day.
The other piece to that, too, was when we had littles, the preschool piece was so much of a part-time, half-day, 3 days a week scenario, and it was really hard even for us to get our kiddos either dropped off or picked up in the middle of the day. and then to traditional daycare or something else. And so this is really that one-stop feature from 6 weeks old until they are ready for kindergarten. And we're looking at possibly going beyond, but right now it's that early childhood piece that you don't have to worry about them. It's 6 to 6 hours, so it's like you just bring them here, we'll take care of that piece, and you don't have to worry about the academics as well.
So with that too, not only are you able to take the kids from 6 months to 5 years, have a nice long time of even building rapport and having kids feel comfortable in that environment, but day to day, what does it look like for the kids?
Very relaxed. We're not in the pressure of you have 3 hours to do circle time and to get outside and to have your snack and to do, whatever those learning activities might be in a 3-hour preschool. This is just, if you are going to come at 6 a.m., it's kind of that wake up time. And so we're just the quiet play, the reading stories, breakfast time all together in each classroom, more of that family style, sit down and eat. And more exploratory play, especially for those littles, outside as often as possible. Mm-hmm. Taking our lunches outside, like Rob said, we're building this building for us never to be in. We want them outside, whether it's hammocks or it's slack lines or it's logs or it's sticks, the trails, observing animals, being outside and learning through nature is our main goal.
Yep. I think that's, as Krista was mentioning, plan to be, if you put numbers on it, somewhere between 3 to 5 hours a day, the kids will be out exploring. That doesn't mean the 6-week-old ones. They have their own exploring a little closer to the building, but we have a lot of property, and the idea, that you've said so well so many times is we have to start showing the kids where to look, not what to see. They're going to be out there exploring, using their critical thinking, team building skills, their ability to overcome challenges, and all under supervision of qualified teachers. I suppose we should disclaim that, but they will be out there exploring and solving problems without a time limit. So it's not like you're on a 30-minute cycle that we have to be on this next piece, or the next 8 minutes we're going to do this activity. They may be, and I think one of my funnest that just resonated with me from a nature school that we visited is a class went out and they spent 3 hours watching an anthill work, the ones in the woods that are giant, and what was going on, and understanding the teamwork and how the kids could do something similar. And then they went and built a fort in a similar way. So having a good time with it.
I would say for probably a lot of people, especially in Grand Rapids in northern Minnesota, this is a different model than we've really seen. A lot of when I think of a preschool, a lot of times it's at a church or a small community center, community building, or even a daycare. A lot of times that's an in-home, maybe 6 to 12 kids. So we're talking about 100, 120 seats or beds or whatever you want to say. Where did you guys get the idea for this model?
You can speak on the numbers and why that made sense.
Well, from a number standpoint, and this is something, like I said, in the business consulting world of trying to figure out where does it become economical to run an operation like this, to be able to cover overhead. And basically in business, you figure out how many sales or how many widgets you need to put off the production line. We're not building widgets here, and we have a captive number, so we had to work that backwards. And there's a lot of data in the industry that about 100 kids is break-even-ish, or that's where it really starts to make sense to run a childcare center. But that also gives us the opportunity to create flexibility because of the size of what we're doing, the number of kids that'll be able to move back and forth between classes, and what's going on, either, as we've talked, ability-based. If there's springtime, we're going to be doing maple syruping on the property. So there may be some 3-year-olds and 2-year-olds that are up to the challenge to doing that, along with the 4s and 5s. And this gives you that opportunity to have the kids do the exploration that they're ready for at their level and then grow into the next level. So we kind of have, we've joked out there as we've been building trails now, is we kind of have our blue runs, our green runs, and our black diamonds, and you think of what could happen out there. So
I think as far as the center model versus the family or smaller in-home model, I think they both serve a definite purpose. My mom has had a daycare for forever when I was at home, and definitely was a family. And I don't think that we won't have that family feel even in a bigger center with so many kids. I think the biggest difference for me is just with the family model, the oldest kids always had to go off of the infant schedule. Oh, it's nap time. We have to be quiet. We have to do something in here. And they would just want to go out and play. And so now it's like, yes, those infants are learning the infant things that they need to, and they're in their space. The older kids are romping through the woods or whatever they need to. And there's still times that they will see each other. It's not like we have to totally keep them all separate. But they get to just go and be their age with their peers. So that's a huge, huge purpose. Nature-based was number one on our hearts. It was, this is God's creation, and what better teacher than God himself and the nature that he's provided. And so we looked at a few different places where we could have had it at the IRC building or other, and it was like, this is on a parking lot. And how can we say nothing against the IRC building? But if it's going to be nature-based, we have to provide them with true nature to be out there. And then we came across this land, and we just knew. It was like, this is it. And no other purpose. We talked about building our own house out there, too. And nope, this is just for the kids. This is their playland. This is their paradise. I don't know how else to put it. And so just they deserve it, and I'm excited to watch them.
Yeah. And kind of expounding on that, being in the woods and out a little bit, again, it's different than a lot of models where you see it's more like a school in town, something like that. Can you tell us a little bit about where your facility is going to be at?
Yeah, absolutely. We're about 3/4 of a mile east on Highway 2 from the Prairie River Bridge. So in the city of Coleraine, but we're about 5 minutes from downtown Grand Rapids, 10 minutes from downtown Cohasset. So we're, on Highway 2 East. It's on the south side. You can see a lot of construction there right now and signs out by the road that kind of show where it's going to be. The idea is that the building, playground, everything is very similar to what is going to be under standard DHS guidelines, to put it that way, as a childcare center, all the safety protocols, all the security protocols that are needed to ensure families have what they need in this space. And then we just love the concept or the term of saying, but we'll be on walking field trips every day, which means if you walk across the playground through the gate, now there's another 25 acres to explore. And that's really, like Krista said, putting the land there. The 25 acres is really what we got it. The 30 acres is really what we got it for the kids to be able to explore and enjoy that, as our kids have, and like we did when we were kids.
Yeah, that's more along like a campus, potentially, for a lot of room to get out and do those things. Because I think we also see a lot of times preschools, daycares, there's the outside space, which is maybe 50 feet by 50 feet chain link fence and a swing set or something, and that's pretty much the extent. And I would imagine in large part when somebody's operating at a normal level, you just can't scale. You don't have even the right number of people to be able to watch a larger space.
Right.
So that's probably where, being able to scale gives you a lot more of those opportunities.
Absolutely. And that it's still going to follow. It follows along with, if you went back into all the details of what licensure is you have care requirements or ratios of teachers to students that are there. So the infants are designated, 1 to 4. So we'll have one teacher there for every 4 infants that's on site. Toddlers are 1 to 7. And then all the preschoolers up to 5 years old are only 1 to 10. So every time we have a group in anywhere on the property, there will be at minimum that many adults with them. So if you have 10 preschoolers out, there will be at minimum a lead teacher with them. I think our list of volunteers might be on its second page now. So we have a lot of people that are looking to come and volunteer their special skills just to be out in that space with the kids, understanding, overseeing, and some very friendly neighbors that are just interested in kind of keeping in, seeing what's happening with this idea and how this can grow. So, yeah, there'll be a lot of supervision out there. Obviously, like you said, it's kind of a new model for our area. We've had the great pleasure of having some mentor businesses that we've been visiting with for a couple years and how they operate in these spaces. And it's amazing when you watch kids as we're there visiting with them of just how smart and good our kids are at if we let them be. If we try to control their every move and give them rules to everything, that's where things start to fall apart. If we let them find their limits within that supervised piece, they do amazing.
Yeah, and in my family personally, we're doing homeschooling, but again, finding opportunity to let our kids kind of do what works for them in a lot of ways. But I know a lot of kids, or my daughter would do great in a traditional school setting, whereas my son, he likes to be moving. And I think movement in a lot of ways allows kids to be able to focus in order to learn. And have you guys dug into that research and the background too?
Yeah. I think so much of it is that early play and exploring and experiencing with your body to be able to self-regulate, whether it's balance, whether it's just that core, anything. And so being out in nature, what better than climbing on logs and rocks than to really give you that perspective. And I think then you just are able to self-regulate better. I think of even now, if kids get 30 minutes of recess, they're running for the full 30 minutes of recess. Yeah. And at about 37 minutes, they start to calm down. But sadly, right now, we can't afford that in our day. Yep. And so even out on our property, I've commented like, are they just going to be little Sasquatches and running all over? But they won't be, because this is their full day. And so it isn't like, hurry up and burn up all your energy. This is sustained energy, and just that self-awareness piece of, I'm not out here to be super loud. I'm going to be an active listener, and what is nature telling me, and to be curious. And I've read so much research about just even the maturity piece that I think they gain with recognizing sounds and what the world is doing in different seasons, and helping each other, that cooperative play of, this one can't get up the little hill yet, and we go to help. And even at 4 years old or 3 years old, those social emotional skills come into play so naturally that it isn't an artificial lesson that you're trying to teach examples of. You're living it and doing it every day. And
even, if there is the dedicated, more, we'll call it classroom time, you go let them run for 45 minutes, and they'll usually come back, okay, I'm ready to sit down and listen and do something. Whereas before, you're fighting that for maybe 45 minutes, and then your time is up.
Yeah. It's very authentic experiences too in nature, whether it's letter sounds or whatnot. You can still leaf. What does leaf start with? And bringing books about nature and sounds of the birds, and that you're still doing all of those academic pieces, but just I feel like it's a more authentic way of learning.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So talking about the design of, maybe we'll call it a campus for lack of a better term,
cool.
maybe.
That is.
But how, so that's the bigger outside picture with trails and opportunities to get out in the woods. What kind of things have you taken into, maybe a more pushing the envelope design-wise of your actual building?
Building-wise, I would say is very simple. limited technology, basically just for our staff to be able to do the daily requirements of checking in kids or sending out the daily informational, here's what we did today via pictures. We sort of made our building into two sections in a way where on one side is the infant and toddler room where it's going to be a little bit quieter, have that crib room, and then on the other side is more of the school age or the preschool age side where they can mix and mingle a little bit more. I wanted a great hallway, and so as you walk in, it's more of that elevated ceiling with the tongue and groove, and right out the back doors is all green. It's our beyond, and so I thought that was a really important and neat feature that we splurged just a little bit, I would say, but I just didn't want it to feel like a dungeon. I didn't want it to feel static. I want it to feel very earthy, whether you're inside or outside. And so that was really our goal. But very simple because we don't want to be in there very much also. So the playground, like Rob said, everything is DHS code, fenced in playground for our littlest. We have a covered porch even for those infants. If it's a little rainy, they can still be outside and maybe not get wet. And the toddlers would love all the puddles. And then beyond is the beyond.
I would say, specifically from the building and site as well, just we designed it as an easy on and off from the highway. I mean, we are on Highway 2, which is, a little bit just people understanding coming. It's convenient where we're on the bus lines for 318 and School District 316. So we'll be offering the opportunity to have that one-stop drop off and pick up for kids as well. So the school district will be able to pick kids up. So that added to the design of the facility as well, having enough of a parking lot and ring road, I guess we're trying to call it, for buses to get in and out right in front of the school and have the opportunity to drop those kids off, because we all know what it's like. It's not just hard to get to preschool when you may have, in a matter of 6 years, if you have 3 kids in that same time frame, you may be at a preschool and 2 different elementary schools, or middle school, elementary, and preschool. So if there is a need for that, and we will have that opportunity, plus, we all know school doesn't necessarily end when our work days end, or start. So we have that opportunity for parents to be able to do that and do some exploring with those older kids as well when it's time.
Yeah, and I see that as a huge benefit too. When we had our kids in kindergarten and preschool, just the amount of time we spent every day in pick up and drop off, trying to get to 2 different locations, I mean, that ends up being a huge, just logistical nightmare in a lot of ways between 2 people, or one person trying to make the circuit, or grandma and grandpa, or people helping out.
Yep. We've tried all those variations. We've lived it for sure.
Right away when parents are going to start seeing the facility and coming in and seeing if this is a good fit for their kids, what would you say are the top 3 things that they're going to notice right away?
I hope they notice the space. We actually would love very soon to have pre-registered families come out for a nature walk with us and just see what this really looks like in the beyond. Again, I don't feel like our building is the feature. It is just that nature behind it. I hope, though, that they notice it is a safe place. I hope they notice that it's very warm and welcoming. And I really hope that they see our effort in making this a paradise for their most cherished kids.
And I would just add that along with that homey feel, and we want it to be inviting at the same time, so this is where we're good partners in this, we also added all the security features I think that parents would expect to have in these places, with secured vestibules to enter the building, security cameras, open parking lots that are easy one-way traffic, that you're not trying to cross traffic with people as you're coming. Because we did recognize that as well in the design of, if you're bringing in 120 kids at roughly within an hour, most of the time, there's going to be some traffic. So we wanted to make sure that logistically made sense. We'll have staff that is helping guide people, and we have the site set up that it's convenient, especially for I think that was one of our biggest recommendations that we had for our very youngest little learners. We have a special parking lot for them and their families to be able to carry their cartload of everything that comes with an infant, and in a special door that gives them true access right to their classroom and the easy drop off and handoff with their teacher, and that connection, instead of fighting the whole thing, which also helps separate that traffic piece a little bit. So nobody feels like they have to be in a big rush, but gives easy access in and out. We fully recognized 3 years ago when we started this that when we do this, we are betting the farm on this idea. But I think that's why it made sense when all the kids ours are gone. Nobody's reliant on us anymore. We can do this thing, and
we can live in a camper if we need. We can have ramen if we need.
But it is really fun because we still, what are we, about a month and a half now, 6 weeks into construction, and we still drive out there every day to see what changed. And watching, I think it fills your heart when you look at, you did a 2D drawing, you're looking at it on paper, you're sharing all this with your architects and contractors, and then to see them put it in 3D life of what's happening along the same time as all the pre-registered people are online, the comments on our website, the Facebook posts that Krista has been doing, that we're already, we're still a few months out from opening, and we're at a little better than 50% capacity if everything goes as it is. We still have room for some of the preschool age, and it's becoming, and I think growing. We've had a little bit of a change in our community over the last few years, in different school opportunities and different opportunities for our kids to see things, and this will just be another piece of that to help kind of give parents and families what they've been looking for.
Yeah, every weekend we're out there doing trails and things, and I want to be out there more and more. Like, okay, I feel this need to be out there. It's crazy because I grew up in town, so I was afraid to go 6 steps into the woods, and now that's the only place I want to be.
That's pretty exciting.
It's cool.
Rob, you said you had kind of gone through this 2, 3, 4 times with somebody else. Like, hey, are you going to build it? Are you going to do it? And it didn't happen. When was there a conversation or a time or something that happened where you guys just knew, okay, I guess we have to do this?
Surprisingly, I will say, I never told Krista about them because it's all confidential. So she never really knew. But it was about, how do you say that, 3.5 years ago. The thought has been on our minds for a lot longer than that this is something we should do. It also was, let's just call it 2020 happened. And then as we all lived through that in 2021, I think 2022 just said, why wait? Just go after your dreams, do what you want to do. And she was completely ready at that point to take a look at it, see what we could do, and start digesting the numbers it was going to take to make this happen, not just in kids, but in dollars.
And I am not a risk taker. So this is I am just the status quo, keep it easy. And it was as much of a surprise to me, I think, of God, again, just saying, nope, there's something else. And the more I have kind of asked that question, are you sure it's us? Are you and it's a wild ride, but it's been so fun.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, can you guys pinpoint it to the exact moment or a time when you said, let's do it? Yep.
He's like, are you ready to do this yet? In a literal text. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, your school. What? Oh, no, it's okay. And then just different things came up of, am I ready to not be in a classroom full time? That was my first question. And then I had the opportunity to help lead our vacation Bible school. So I wasn't really in a classroom or doing specific things with a group, but it was leading the whole. And I was like, oh, I loved that. And it was just eye-opening. So I'm like, okay, that's a little drop in my bucket. And different struggles and scenarios kind of happened that it was like this tug got stronger and stronger and stronger and hit a few bumps in the way. And I just think that was such a faith builder as well of, is this a stop or is this a not yet? What do I have to learn from this? And just really trying to be open to what God was trying to say. And sometimes I'm a thicker head than I should have been, but purposefully the timing is God's timing, and thankful that this is what the next 15 to 20 years will look like for us.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
So this is kind of your detour. Kind of one of the themes we have in the show is, it seems like we've got our track that we're on, like you said, status quo, and then we take the detour. There's a bridge out ahead which reroutes you. You got onto this new course. Was there anything that, and I know there was, but what was it that was maybe harder than you thought, or like took a way different turn than you were expecting in this now build-up process?
I would say it started out, the first part was, the simple one was convincing the director to be the director. But secondly was location. You know, how do you find, and what magnitude does that take? We started looking, like we had said, we had visited facilities, we had seen places, and some of them, I know everybody in our local area would say there's catalogs out there that you can buy nature-based stumps for your kids to play in the playground with.
Awesome.
I don't think any of us would call it that in a catalog. We all call it firewood. So
yeah.
And so we started, call it the roadblocks, or the things that we started to run into was finding the right location for the right price. That is a factor. Depending on which area you're in, how convenient to town, but out of town, whatever town, to truly make this vision come into play. That was probably the first one, which took us about 8-9 months of looking. But as you'd say, when Krista mentions it a lot, that, God will always put those people in your path that are going to help you. And that's where we found our realtor. Jane absolutely just took the ropes and said, well, we're going to find this thing and make it happen, and just kept calling. And then from the location standpoint, it was all of a sudden we're sitting at a baseball game on a Thursday night and got the call or a text that, hey, this just came up and this is going to go quick. We went and walked the property for about 15 minutes on a Friday because she was also getting the pings that they're already getting offers and they're going to make a decision quick. So we sent our offer in, and as you said, find the right people. All of a sudden it was a family that had teachers in the family, and we sent a letter along with what we had planned to do with the property, and they picked us to say, please do that. So we're fulfilling our promise that we gave them.
I think for me, the bridge has been giving up control of, this is my timeline, right? And no, it so isn't. And once I was able to kind of release that, it's just been so much fun. Instead of the when is this going to happen, it's more of I wonder when, or I wonder who is, like I'm so anxious, like where's our staff, who's going to come, and it's like, no, I wonder who God is going to put in our path to come and help us with this vision. We can't do it alone, for sure we can't, but firmly believe that there's people close by that are like, oh yeah, this is something that, and they don't even know yet, but yep. So I think for me, it's definitely been that control piece of the timeline, thinking, I've told people we should be opening this November. Guess what? I was so wrong. But it's happening, and I think now, in hindsight, opening March-ish leads into a full season of summer instead of coming into the season of winter. And I think that that's a very purposeful thing on God's part. So he knows best.
Yeah. and you can open up into the spring.
Absolutely. See the new growth with the new crew out there and really see what it's going to be able to provide all spring and for the kids to understand it. That's, we were worried at the beginning of the idea of preschool and what was going to be happening for the kids and getting ready if they're going right into kindergarten next year. But then also looking at it of, well, if you are full-time, and we're still working out all the details to what the schedule's potential would be. But if you are full-time and you start in March and you're there through all the exploratory of the summer, as you've said, hours in preschool and, knowing what it takes to be a solid kindergartner on day one, those 6-7 months that you would be there are way more than a year's worth of time in preschool and the time that you spent on academics. You're going to have the skills. The little one will have the skills ready to move on to whatever their next adventure is, if that's into the school district, if it's into one of our other Lake Academy or the Lighthouse Academy, onto St. Joe's, whatever their opportunity takes them next, they'll have those skills ready to go. So we were a little worried about that timeline, but as we put it together, it seems to fit really well. So.
Well, you're a married couple, so you get to go to work together and then you come home and, what's that look like when things get tough?
I don't go to work there.
Yeah.
I'm going to continue working at my place, but...
He jokes that he's going to come and rile him up with maple syrup, and then he's going to leave and go to work, and then we get to deal with the aftermath of that.
Yep.
No, truly, we've grown so much as a couple in this process that it's the communication piece has grown so much. I find like I want to be with him more because we are out in nature and doing the things that we did 25 years ago. So it's this new beginning. It's fun.
And it's big to have kind of a unified front, or you guys are both pulling in the same direction. It's really a good way to bond with somebody. You got a shared goal and vision, which sometimes you can get. I mean, my wife and I we're kind of in that too. When you have kids, you're like, hey, we got to focus on kids. But then being able to every once in a while get something that you're able to pull on together, it can be a huge time to reconnect and rekindle some of that excitement.
Absolutely. I mean, we learned through raising 4 kids and our whole adventure and now being grandparents that there were those times that are, but that you were kind of, what do you say, many phrases that you use. Well, we're going to divide and conquer today. That's the way it is. Or we need to call in some reinforcements for what's going on today. But overall, trying to maintain that teamwork, making sure that we're always staying front and center for each other or letting each other know when things don't seem to be going the right way. That's the big communication piece that we've gotten a lot better about. And I think probably even in our case, what's really worked out well is we have the same passion and mission for this idea, but our skills are complementary and in completely different spaces. So I can't even begin to say I would be the director at this facility. I believe I could do it, but I'm nowhere near the abilities that you have with working with kids and what your knowledge base and what that's going to be. And then for me, taking care of the maintenance and the back, all the background pieces, the bills, the finances, the maintenance of the building. I got a new tractor, so I get to go play in the woods. I mean, it's all that fun stuff, and I love being around the kids too. But, I think we need that. We need that balance in our relationship because it's a very tough piece in any business, as we've learned with entrepreneurs through my career. Everything that we've done is it's a rare occasion for somebody to be really good at all parts of a business. You need that support. And I think that's where our teamwork is coming in the best, is knowing that we have the 2 biggest key roles in the business, need a few other people that will be the other key roles that we know we need from. We need to find a great cook because we are putting in a commercial kitchen for them to provide for our students on site, working with local CSA farms and making sure that we can provide locally grown as much as possible, and just building all of that in for the kids to be able to have that opportunity.
Finding people that work in their strengths is so much better than, you can force it. Like you said, you could be director, but is that going to give you life as much as for Krista? That's a huge thing too. I was just talking yesterday I've got some virtual support for my business and looking to add a few different things and options that they had. And one of the services, they'll plan events for you, like a party. And then another option is they'll manage all your finances, your QuickBooks. And she's like, they're different people who would do that. And it's like, that's probably a good idea, because I probably don't want my QuickBooks guy planning a party for me. I probably don't want a party planner doing my QuickBooks. Probably be a lame party if the accountant threw it. No offense to accountants.
No,
but
agreed. I am one. She's a better party planner.
Being able to have those different strengths and really complement. But same thing, you might not want the preschool teacher managing all the bills and finances, but it's not because they can't, but it's not their strengths.
Right.
I've said from day one, I am not the end-all be-all to this project at all. I think we are the
catalyst.
Catalyst is our word, of connecting our community to these kids and all the different strengths that we have. I mean, it's such a great place to be, from the Minnesota Extension to the, like you said, the local farms that we have, to the book clubs, to the quilters, to whoever. Like, there are so many neat people that have the greatest gifts. I don't have them all. I probably don't have very many, but I know who to connect to these kiddos, and so I'm really just excited for that piece, to bring this facility together and have a space that is a sanctuary for all this kind of learning to happen.
So we're kind of getting to the wrap up here, but one thing I really wanted to touch on is Roots and Wings. How did you guys come up with that name?
Well, I'm going to start, and then I'll let Krista see if I got it right. This is the whole idea, and this was the phrase that came out, was this is where they're going to plant their learning roots and learn how to grow their wings. How to sail out into the world with good roots planted. And then I'm still trying to figure out, because I did have an idea at the beginning and still trying to commit myself to it, is part of that roots piece was we were going to plant a spruce tree for each student that graduates as they graduate and go into kindergarten or on to their next adventure, so that when they graduate from that at 18, they can come back and cut down a Christmas tree.
Oh, yeah.
But now I'm thinking there's 120 of them to start with in the first year. It might be a few trees, but we're going to find a way to do that, or find a way to have them back out for connections to keep that community connection, because each one of those kids in the long run is also, when they go and explore their wings, they're going to find new skills that they can maybe come back and plant some new roots with the kids that are there then. Is
that Roots and Wings was the first, I don't know if you can say tangible, but it was really the first piece to this big puzzle. Honestly, it was the name. And if we're going to do this, what is it going to be called? And there was a few other things, like I've had Grow With God preschool, like that was kind of a near and dear thing 25 years ago. But it was, this is nature-based, this is God-centered, what is it? And that was our first piece. Not long after we had the name, I got a special gift from a dear friend, and it was some driftwood and then a little bird. And I was like, okay, signs just kept coming, like this for sure is it. When we found the property too, it's nature, it's the roots and the wings. Our colors are based off of the greens and the blues for the very same reason. And honestly, it's very selfish, because I think that it's a really good, I don't know the right word, but synopsis of us as well, of like, we have roots with our family and they're all flying. I'm going to get teary, but we want to start over.
and having a lasting impact on people too, where they have a place where they're comfortable, rooted, and then sending them out prepared for the next steps.
Very confident kids will come out of Roots and Wings for sure.
I think that's probably the one big piece maybe we might have overskipped, like you said, very confident kids, but we also are encouraging and will be encouraging more families to be part of this education.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the family to be able to spend time, and I'm going to commit you now that I committed myself to the Spruce Trees, is we're going to have Super Saturdays, is what you were calling it, where it's not an extra fee. We may have some food and just opportunities for the kids to be able to go and explore with their families, and on guided pieces for the staff and families to be able to come out and have that educational piece, because we didn't touch on the other things that may be happening out there. That'll still be some surprises, but between maybe some chickens and part of those things that'll be happening across the property. But
Someday.
Yep, that's all coming. So it'll be an opportunity that this isn't just a place to come and have your kids get the nature there and then they learn everything there. We want the parents to be included very much like what it should be in the school system too, and in any educational piece that you're all growing together at the same time. So we want that interaction, the volunteering, or just the ability to be there on the Super Saturdays, so that if we have something cool that the kids can learn, the parents can learn along with and take it home too. Mm-hmm. So might be wood carvers, might be who knows what that'll be happening on those days.
We're not the replacement for parents at all, and I will be the first to say that. Partnering with the parents so that you are confident that your kids are in a very safe and fun and engaging place while you are away from them is our goal. I had so many questions as a parent too, so hopefully we can provide some sort of answer or connection to those answers if there are concerns. But yeah, providing those times for families to just have that space together. If we're able to have a garden and there's extra tomatoes today, take them home for dinner. That kind of scenario where it's not always the rush to the next thing. This is just a place, if you want to come and stay for an extra half hour, you can do that with your kids and explore.
It sounds a lot like field trip days, but I remember growing up, like, oh, cool, we're going to go to the woods and go do something or go visit a farm.
Right.
But it sounds like that's going to be most days, which is really exciting too.
Yep. That actually a great way to put it. That's pretty much the goal out there.
It's like a field trip every day.
While walking, for sure.
Yeah.
You just don't have to ride a bus.
Yeah. So we're at the toolbox takeaway section of our show here. And really what that is just looking for advice that you have for people who are just starting out or kind of in the thick of it. Maybe they're on day one of their 3-year process to get to where, okay, they're finally a year away, 6 months away, maybe a couple weeks away from hitting the ground running. What advice do you have for people?
If there's a tug on your heart, you got to follow the tug. Just keep going with your gut. I am, like I said, I'm a very safe player. Even we're discussing the colors of the exterior this week, and I'm like, "Ooh, the safe color is this," but my gut is really saying this, and it's a leap, right? But I know the color. Just all along the path. Like I thought, why would we do this at middle age? We can coast. We have no kids really left at home. We have grandkids we can go play with. Why in the world are we starting this and taking on some debt and all the other things? But I think our favorite quote is, when you hit the pillow, know that you've given it your all today. And so I think that this is our way to keep giving it our all every day. And so I think you have to follow your gut.
And I would add I'll say I'll be the business consultant at the moment, is you don't know what you don't know. So definitely include a team. And sometimes you don't know who that is until you uncover the question. And then, yep, we didn't think about that, so we got to deal with that. And if you are just starting out on day one of your journey, the other one that I learned quite a long time ago in one of my projects was get comfortable being uncomfortable. because you are going to be uncomfortable a lot throughout this process, throughout running a business of your own. There's a lot of decisions that need to be made, and that's all just part of the journey and growth that you're going to go through every step of the way. So try to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
That is true. Making, especially the first jump, the first step you take in that direction can be pretty nerve-wracking.
Absolutely. Because you believe it. Now we need to know, does everybody else?
Yep. And what are you going to do to get everybody else to believe in it? And because at that point, you're trusting God that it's all going to work out, but you got to do the work to also make it happen.
Right.
One of my best friends said, the place between the two trapeze where the person has to let go in order to grab onto the next one?
Yeah.
That place where you let go is a place too. And that's the most uncomfortable and lots of prayer.
That's, I don't know. I don't know any of the lines from it, but The Places You'll Go by Dr. Seuss. That's a good one. You're like, there's the waiting place and there's, and it's all part of that journey that gets you to where you're going.
Right.
And a good amount of it can be uncomfortable or unsettling or uncertain. Sometimes you don't know where you're at. And it's pretty cool.
We've had all those feelings along the journey, and there is another side to every place too. So,
and we've really truly said, okay, maybe this is the stopping point. And if it's the stopping point, God will tell us. And there's always been the next door that's opened. And the next person that's been like, keep going. You're doing, like, the encouragement has been incredible. The support has been incredible. The prayer has been incredible. So I guess at the end of my day, if I don't do this, I know that I won't have fulfilled what I'm supposed to be doing in this world. So
that's huge.
Here we go.
Okay, what's the next 3 months look like for you guys?
We are finishing some clearing, getting our trails in place, and what we are, I guess, affectionately calling at this point adventure zones, which are actually like smaller play zones in the woods where a group can get together and do either not specific tasks, but it's kind of designed that way. We have some hills and rocks that they can climb and play on. We have other places under the big trees, and building some picnic tables and getting everything ready out in that space, because you said 3 months, there's a pretty good chance we'll have frost and we can't do a lot of that at that point. The other part is keeping an eye on with the contractors and the inevitable potential changes and things that are going to come up along the way. We have a minimal part of that, I think, that's going to be happening since we're a greenfield build at this point and the foundation's all in. So there shouldn't be a lot of guesses on what's going on. The site prep's done. But it's a lot of, I guess we're calling this the funny way is we have to learn how to pass the baton too, because this has been a business startup at this point, and that's where my skill set is. So I'm going to say I've been 80%, you've been 20 as we've talked about this, and that flip is about to happen. So in the next 3 to 4 months, that flip is going to be, I'll be the 20% backseater on all the things, and it'll be operational pretty quick. So.
Yep. We have our software pretty much in place, learning about that as far as all of our scheduling and billing and those pieces that now, thankfully, technology has put those into one. So that's wonderful. Getting really comfortable with that. Curriculum is looking really good as far as the curriculum that we've chosen to support our kids. So that's in place. Like he said, we have the pre-registration has been open for some time. We have over halfway full there, looking for some preschool kiddos to join us. And so trying to communicate with those families on a monthly basis just to say, here's where we're at. So we'll open our official registration to those pre-registered first within the next couple of months. And get all of the paperwork kind of ready to go as far as the immunization pieces and all the DHS rules that need to come with each family. Ordering all the supplies, the tables, the chairs, the kitchen equipment, the blankets,
The
list.
minor details.
the minor,
Oh, yeah, that other
furnishings.
That other detail. We have to get some people hired. So
Yep.
we do have
Right.
to get the staff in place, which we've been very lucky with a lot of people being interested in that as well. But we are, grand scheme, we're looking at probably upwards of 15 employees overall, but many options on full-time versus part-time, and that might kind of go right back to the beginning of why did we pick sender model versus home childcare and just do it that way. Was we'll have enough staff that we never have to close down. So there's always that spot, and there isn't that worry of somebody being sick in a smaller facility having to shut down. So when that's needed, we definitely want to be that provider. But I guess that's a small detail that we do have to figure out, though.
Yeah, thanks for bringing up the next 3 months, because now I feel overwhelmed again.
Yeah. Perfect time to wrap up. Well, great. I really appreciate you guys stopping by, telling us a little bit about what you've got going on. Where can people find you? Where can we get those last, half of those seats filled?
We're on Facebook right now, Roots and Wings, and Roots and Wings ELC.com. There's pre-registration pages out there. There's also, if you're an interested staff member, a job inquiry as well. My email is right on our website, Krista@rootsandwingselc.com. You can find me personally on Facebook, so lots of people reaching out in lots of different ways.
I would say there's definitely, if people are interested and want to see a little bit more, there's at least a weekly update that's going on there from the construction process too. I mean, we got to throw a shout out to all of our great friends from Hawk Construction, Casper Construction, Hopkins Electric, Rapids Plumbing and Heating, the primary contractors that have been out there so far, that they're doing drone footage for us every single week of the changes of what's gone on the site and good updates, and we're adding that to the webpage so people can see and start getting a concept of what this is going to look like. So it's been really fun.
Exciting. Your next 3 months sound pretty busy.
Pretty boring.
But yeah, we'll touch base again, and like to hear where things are at, and 3-6 months from now, and I really appreciate your time, guys.
Thank
Absolutely.
you so
Thank
much.
you.
Take
It's been
care.
a pleasure.
This episode of Bridge Out Ahead is brought to you by Legacy Bridge Real Estate, brokered by Grand Properties. At Legacy Bridge, we believe real estate is one of the most powerful ways to build wealth. More importantly, to build your legacy. Whether you're buying your first home, selling a property, or looking to invest, our trusted team is here to walk with you every step of the way. Legacy Bridge Real Estate, where legacies begin. Today's theme music is We're Making Good Time by Jed LaPlante. Thanks for joining us today. And remember, no matter the detour you encounter, the road ahead is still yours to build. I'm Bridger Hopkins, and this is Bridge Out Ahead.